goodness, you all. Thank you so much for joining me this week. This is Alicia, and welcome back to the Eat Me podcast. I am elated, like seriously elated, because the person I have here on the podcast this is her second appearance on the podcast, and I'm really excited because Tori Schendel-Vyvoda is back here on the podcast, and she has been super busy because she's working on her PhD. So I am like beyond grateful that you have time to come back to my podcast. So Tori, thank you so much for coming back to the podcast. Tori Schendel is Vyvoda is the curator for Evansville's African American Museum, as well as she is a professor at the University of Evansville, my alma mater. So I'm really excited about that as well. And she is back. Our last conversation we talked about the not African, but we talked about the burial site that was actually set at Oak Hill Cemetery back home in Evansville, Indiana. And we can kind of like brush over all that because we're going to talk about the actual ceremony that was actually provided for this burial site. And I'm super excited to talk about that and some other amazing things that Tori has told me about. So really excited. Like I said, thank you so much for coming back to the podcast. Thank you. I'm just so happy.
Thank you for the invite. It's so much fun to get the opportunity to share the good work that we're doing and the good news too of when projects take off and get to the end date, whether it's the memorial ceremony or the other things we'll discuss.
Yes. So I wanted to just, like I said, talk about the memorial ceremony. And I guess for folks if you didn't get a chance to listen to the episode that Tori and I actually worked on, please go back and listen to that episode. It was such an amazing episode where she shared with us the actual foundations of the actual burial site that it was at the courthouse, right?
4th and Vine Streets in Evansville. Yep, downtown by the courthouse.
Yeah. And so actually if you don't mind, just give us like a little quick little like what was the whole premise of even creating this whole memorial for this actual burial site that you guys discovered downtown?
Yeah, absolutely. So quick synopsis is the city of Evansville put in for updating the new sewer lines in downtown Evansville.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2023, they accidentally uncovered parts of the McGarry Burial Ground. And the McGarry's burial ground was the first cemetery in settler Evansville. Now, we knew that the cemetery existed, but we didn't know to what proximity because in the records, they noted there was a stone and then a 1 acre tract based on that stone. Well, where's the stone? We have no idea. So
right.
as they were uncovering more ground, the archaeologists from CRA uncovered 76 human remains.
Wow.
And a non-invasive bioarchaeological research was done to determine the ethnicities of at least 1/3 of the individuals. And from that, they discovered that there was indigenous Americans, that there were African Americans or sub-Saharan Africans and Europeans. And so once we had a scientific confirmation of the ethnicities of these individuals, again, non-invasive methods were used, that's when CRA contacted the Evansville African American Museum for us to partner together to figure out what are we going to do. So we met with the museum initially. The museum is also ran by descendant community members. I'm the only non-descendant community member that is allowed to work there, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to serve and work beside the community. And once we had that initial meeting with CRA and also Dennis Au, who was the former county historian who had more history and background in McGarry, we worked as a group to say, well, let's ask what the greater Baptist town community would like to do. And so we went into that stage by working not only with the University of Evansville, that's kind of how that got in, and we had student support to help work towards the the listening session. But then we also got funding from Indiana Landmark's Black History Preservation Program. And so with the funds and the students and then the community, we hosted a community listening session. And that's where a large portion of the Baptist town community gathered at the Evansville African American Museum to hear a presentation about the archaeological remains and finds and which percentage were sub-Saharan African. And then we asked them, what would you like to see? And the community noted that they'd like to be part of the memorial ceremony. They would like to draft an epitaph to go on the stone that will be placed at Oak Hill for the reinterment ceremony. and that they would form their own committee. And once that's done, they will form a committee, make some ideas, put out a survey, and the community was welcome to interact with the survey, which we actually got 45% of Baptist-town community to interact with it and cast their vote. And then once that was done, whatever they decided, I just said, here it is then. Here's the episode that you all worked so hard to draft, put together, vote on, and create. And so we sent that to the stone maker, and that got put on the stone. So that's how our community did it. And the European descendant community did their own methodology to get their epitaph. And then the Indigenous Americans did the same thing. They created a committee, and they sent their epitaph from there. And then we all celebrated the unveiling of the memorial ceremony, which was in June. And I can go further into that if you like.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
and so because I wanted to pause a little bit, so this is from Our Times newspaper. It's
Yes.
Evansville's Black-only newspaper. It was founded by the founder of our museum, Miss Sandra Matthews, in the 80s, and now it's ran by Memorial CDC, and Rashida is their editor-in-chief, and they did this beautiful spread talking about the memorial ceremony, and you can see the three epitaphs that are here, and then our community coming together. And we also had presentations by Dr. Reverend Brooks. He talked
Mm.
and was representative of the African American community, and then Stan Schmidt from Willard Library, County Historian 2 for Vanderburgh County. He spoke on behalf of Europeans. And then the Native American community asked that we just held a moment of silence to honor their ancestors. So it was a really beautiful day. It was so hot too, so the fact that we had about 50 people show up to honor these individuals, to feel that type of love and to coming together despite the elements, it was an amazing experience. And we're just so grateful for everybody's time, everybody's talents, and everybody coming together to honor these individuals. So it was so much fun. And you can see this marker. It's at Oak Hill Cemetery. So if you just
Yes.
go in the main entrance, keep hanging a right, go past the mausoleum, and if you hit the shed, that takes you to the second exit. You've gone too far, but you'll
Hmm.
see the marker in that in-between area, and it sticks out. She's pretty big. So just to give a reference point.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You know, and what I loved also about this, especially in our last conversation, we talked about this. I loved the fact that there was no separation of the individuals in terms of like, placing folks like in certain areas in Oak Hill Cemetery. Because I mean, if you're listening to this and you're not from Evansville, or you're just not really privy to Oak Hill, even if you are from Evansville, Oak Hill Cemetery was more of a segregated um cemetery. And so when you had shared with me that they were going to keep everyone together, I thought that was so beautiful, because growing up, I think I might have shared this with you, like when certain family members would, pass away, and we would have a funeral and they would be buried there, the majority of my family, actually all my family, they're all in what's considered like the Black area of Oak Hill Cemetery. And so it was just so nice to hear that everyone was able to like be in like the same area. Like that to me was just amazing.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's important that you bring that up too, because it was a conversation that was considered of do we separate the African American individuals, because in the museum, again, the museum is ran by descendant community members. There's one of my coworkers, for example, whose family dates to the early 1800s, first African Americans to settle in this area. And
Uh-huh.
so if you go to Dove Chapel, there's a cemetery there on Burdett Road, and that is called Little Africa.
Africa, yep.
Yeah, and then you have the Ricketts, the Outlaws, Lyles, and another
Hmm.
branch of the family buried there, and that is an all-black cemetery. There was conversation of, do we move? Now, we can't prove whether there was a DNA connection, but it was a conversation. But then after further discussion, the museum said it's not our duty, it's not our place to move these individuals, because we have no
Right.
idea what their connection is to these individuals. We don't know why they were buried this way. We will never know why.
Right.
So we don't have the right to separate these individuals who've spent so much time together in their eternal resting place. So Anything that was uncovered with the individual was reburied with that person.
Mm.
The bottom layer of the dirt too was
Wow.
hand troweled out and buried with the individual too. So everything that we found, everything that the archaeologists found with the people, were reinterred at Oak Hill with themselves in the same configuration as they were discovered. So there was a lot of intent and a lot of purpose to try to do the ethical right thing, to slow down and ask questions, and to make sure we're asking the community, and to make sure the community was on board with every decision that was made too.
That is beautiful. Like seriously, because even like I said, the fact that you guys were so careful with this on so many different levels, it just speaks to the progressive like mindset that's happening in Evansville, which I love to hear. You know, like I seriously like it's just so beautiful to even know that these things are happening. It's like I have goosebumps. I'm not even joking. Like this is so beautiful to me. Like I'm just in awe. Like yes.
That's right. We can do better. And
Yes,
we
and I
will. It's a choice.
and that's the thing. It's like, and we will, and we are, right? It's like, and we are. That's the beauty. It's like I think so many times we're thinking like, oh, in the future these things. No, right now, actively right now, things are happening, and sometimes you feel like because it's like it seems so minute, like the minute things add up eventually. You know?
Oh yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Because I was talking with my student, and it was really amazing just to reflect on the situation and the whole events that transpired. Anybody could have used their position of privilege of any process during this, from the consulting letter up to the memorial ceremony, to use their
Hmm.
position of privilege to cut out the community. And
Right,
systematically, that has been the norm, not only in America, but also in a global presence for
right,
cultural heritage professionals. And so to get to live a case study I hope to say, I can say that we all did the right thing, or at least the best of our ability, but we slowed
right,
down. We made sure to have conversations with the community. If it stalled things, and that was the reality, and we had to make sure that we went through each ethical step. And if somebody was sad at the institutional level that we were taking too long, we just said, well, too bad, because there's nothing we can do until we hear from these key people. And
right,
the good thing is, I didn't feel any pressure. I talked to the other institutions that were involved too, for the European descendant community, and not the indigenous, only really the European, because they pretty much just formed their own committee and they just work through the archaeological firm. So I have no right to talk
right.
on their behalf. But nobody seemed to feel pressured at all. Like we just made sure to take our time and do it right the first time, which means you slow down, talk to the community, get their input, and just do what they say.
Right. And
It can't be
and
that simple.
right. And that's the thing is like things can be simple. Like it may take some time, it's gonna take some work, right?
That's right.
But things can actually work when you involve people and make them feel seen and heard in the process. I think that's like one of the biggest things, like seriously, because a lot of times people feel like, well, you're not even hearing what I'm saying. You're just checking off a box. But the fact that you guys were like, no, we're intentionally reaching out to the community. We are interested in what you think and feel because this is a part of Evansville and you are a part of Evansville. So it's like, we need you. I love that. I really,
Mhm.
really do. It's awesome.
And it's better together. It's not just a cheesy little phrase. It's true.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so true. It's like it's better to do things together. And it's also better to know that like you have the opportunity to be a part of something so much bigger than just some little thing that you would I don't even know how to describe it, but like you're a part of something that's really like I guess like bringing awareness to the fact that we don't know anything about these people, but they're together,
Hmm.
and that alone is just beautiful. It's like I don't know why these people are together, but they're together, and that is. I grew up in Evansville. I mean, and to see the changes that are happening, it's like this is amazing. Like just to even know that this is a thing. It's like, oh, okay, people were, in some way, I'm assuming cohabitating, and hopefully it wasn't in a harmful way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Hmm.
who knows, but the fact that they were together, to me, I think that's just so poetic and beautiful in so many ways.
Yeah, and I'm really appreciative that you brought that up. 'Cause I'm gonna have to reflect on that, because if these individuals can be grouped together, stay together, then how can we not do that today?
Right.
That's beautiful. You're right. That's absolutely poetic.
It is. It's just like we don't know why these people are together. We don't know, but it doesn't matter. They're together. It's just
Mhm.
like, guys, like,
That's the fabric. That's the tapestry.
right? It's like, hello, like let this be the guiding post. I hope, right? Who
Yeah.
knows, right? I don't know. But like another thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm really excited about this. Actually, I was like jumping out of my seat, y'all, before I hit record. Tori and I were talking. So there is a book that's actually going to be put out into the educational realm that I am really excited for you to tell folks about because this is amazing. Take it away, Tori.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been very blessed to work with five different scholars well, so the book is being published by Bergana, and it's called "The Origins of Prejudice: Dangerous Opinions and Beliefs." And so this is a team co-authored book, and it falls underneath Explanations in the Social Sciences, which are short, authoritative books written by global scholars for students and the general public. And each volume explores a single question often asked about the demands and challenges of being human from a historical as well as a contemporary perspective. And specifically, this series is designated to demonstrate how STEM education must include the social sciences if we are to deal successfully with the risks and uncertainties of life today and in the future. And
Mm,
so we are specifically focused on prejudice. We offer a new definition to prejudice and how we're going to define it and argue in our book the definition. It is that only seeing people, things, and events from your own point of view. And we've came to this conclusion for several reasons, but one of them is that prejudice isn't an explanation. We also delve into three different kinds of prejudice,
hmm
and we even go into a case study. And in this case study, we offer three different case studies of being prejudiced drawn from different places around the world to show how challenging it can be to explain why people behave this way. And so we look at Latin America, Papua New Guinea, and Evansville, Indiana.
right. It's like, what?
Yeah. And with that specific case study, when it's specific to the Evansville portion, we look at the history of Baptist-town. We look at the bloody race riot of 1903,
Mm,
Evansville and the Ku Klux Klan, because yes, we were the headquarters. And then
right.
we also look at the Pastor's prologue, and in there we do explain the history of the Evansville African American Museum, why our institution needs to be in existence, and how it does serve as a place to combat prejudice, record the stories of the trials, the tribulations, the triumphs of the community members that live there and continue to live there. And we build on that premise to support our argument for a new definition of prejudice.
I This is just it's so okay. This is like not off subject, but it is kind of every time I'm in a situation. I'm not every situation, but more times than not, there's something that's always bringing me back to Evansville. Something, and it's just like even down to this actual document. It's like Evansville is such an important town. Like
Yeah.
it really, it's so wild. I'm just always blown away. I'm here in New York City, and I'll meet people. They're like, "Oh, I'm from Evansville," or "I have a family member
Oh
that's
wow.
from," and I'm just
Me
like,
too.
right? It's the most random thing ever. But it's like, but at the same time, there's so much history in
Mhm.
Evansville, and that's so beautiful that it's like
Mhm.
like you can't like ignore, at least for me, I can't ignore it. And that's another reason why I wanted to like talk more about Evansville, because Evansville is such, at one point it was a pivotal like town in this
Oh yeah.
country,
Oh yeah.
um and now to know that this book, like there's a whole section about Evansville, like of course there's a section about Evansville.
Papua New Guinea,
Evansville,
Evansville.
right? Exactly. I'm like, Papua New Guinea, Evansville, Indiana. What? But I guess and maybe I don't know if you know this information or not, but like how did Evansville become a part of this actual book?
Yeah, so I'm extremely lucky to know Dr. John Terrell. He's the emeritus curator at the Field Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And we were exchanging information, and he invited me to peer review his co authored book in this series on intelligence. And
Mm-hmm.
after just having a decorum of going back and forth, getting to peer review it, and also getting to make critiques and comments, he goes, "Do you want to write a book with me?" And I said, "Yes, sir. I have no idea You are a rock star in the social science, anthropological, archaeological, and just in museum land in general. It'd be an honor.
Right.
But I tell you, I had no idea what I was doing, and I just said yes because when do you ever get an opportunity to be so lucky to work with somebody who is a world expert from
Right.
the Field Museum, now retired, but who has written just amazing works, and also. I don't know if it would embarrass me, so I hope not. But he's also a huge champion and always has been of community curation. And
Mm.
so I consider him one of the original founders to really put out into the academic sphere that you need to work with communities. You need to curate and collaborate. And he was doing this at one of the largest institutions in the United States and also in the world, too. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just a huge honor for me to get to work with Dr. John Terrell and his colleagues too, that he introduced me to. And I've just been so thankful to have that experience. And it's because of him allowing me space too, we get to now further tell our story here in Evansville and connect into this book and this series that will theoretically and potentially, because it hasn't came out yet, it'll go
Right.
global. And the whole purpose is to have this as a textbook too for students, but also not jargon it up so that anybody who has an interest can just pick up these books and read them. They're not
Right.
horrible technical manuals. We use really relevant historical narratives and case studies. So, for example, John talks about dogs a lot. Humans love their pets.
Right.
And so, just seeing how he works these examples into these narratives to have profound impact of the words we use, the thoughts we have, it is very digestible. So, and all of our colleagues in this series is fantastic to work with. They each offered an amazing insight, and they have their own sense of flavor too that they bring to it that just makes it more accessible. And again, having 6 people work on one book.
Right.
So, I'm really grateful and very excited.
And this, I mean, I can't even imagine. I would be elated because it's like this is your work. Like this is what you have been, doing for so long. So this is beautiful. I didn't, for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that someone else was a part of like the writing process, but I didn't know like Tori, you are like the. That is amazing.
I'm part of the team of authors in this, and also Kelly Kors, who's also from Evansville. He helped
Uh
me
huh.
write the case study too, and he has a book coming out on Baptist Town here shortly.
Uh huh.
So he and I both really collaborated on that aspect. And then we were brought in to. I was brought in first. John asked me to make a recommendation, and
Uh
then
huh.
that's where we got Kelly Kors involved. But then we also have Jean Anderson, who's a brilliant anthropologist. We have Carla. She wrote the Latin American expert, or
Uh huh.
Latin American excerpt. And then we also have Tobias, who wrote the Papua New Guinea. And so all of us focus on this, but we also work together on the introduction, the first chapter. We collaborate on the third, which is the case study, and then the fourth, which is kind of wrapping this up in the conclusion or the so what. So we were all embedded and
That's
intertwined in
amazing.
it and just working on this for at least, I think, the past 2 years now.
Uh huh.
So it's really great to see it finally get to the final stages of editing. And
Right.
then it should hopefully be out this coming summer. So I'll make sure to send you a pre-order link.
Please, yes, that would be amazing. Seriously. And I think also too, I mean, not think, but what one thing I was really excited, not excited, but I guess you can say excited, but it's like for you to like also like talk about the Klan in Evansville.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know that people really understand. Because I always tell people, like,
Mm-hmm.
Evansville had close affiliations with the Klan, and people are
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Evansville, Indiana, really? And I'm like, I promise you, like, why would I make this
Mm-hmm.
up? Like, this is not something, whatever. But I guess when you guys were like researching all that information, like, and just
Mm-hmm.
learning about, um, the Klan's impact in Evansville. If can you just kind of give like like I don't know like a basic type of like rundown, like even how like the Klan got to Evansville? It's like because people don't realize like how infiltrated Evansville was with the Klan at that particular time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so, one of the most important books and authors to talk about Klan history is Dr. James Madison.
Mm-hmm.
He, unfortunately, I'm going to space the book, so sorry, James, Dr. Madison. But I'm pretty sure it's called either Klanland or Indiana and the Klan. And
Okay.
he's really the authoritative historian on the Klan in Indiana.
Uh-huh.
But more specifically, when we get to Evansville in particular, and I'm gonna do a little cheat sheet here.
Oh, you're good. You're all
Because
good.
it's a really fascinating mix of how they really, because yeah, like you said, like how they got here. And
Right.
so after World War One, we get into the statewide effort that Indiana wanted a more moral, a geopolitical space. And so once you get the prohibition that comes in, that starts creating its own set of issues, particularly as you get illegal bootlegging coming in.
Mm.
Um, and when you start getting that bootlegging coming in, so this is again in the era of prohibition, Dr. William French sent a letter to the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan in Texas asking for help to restore morality in the city because it's been
Mm.
dragged into an abyss of non-Christian forces. And
Mm.
so in 1920s, um, the Klan established Indiana as a ground zero. And what's
Wow.
crazy is it is estimated that nearly 25% of the white male population in Evansville in that era were Klan members. And they were, Klan membership was a broad cross section of males in the city, from
Mm.
white collar to blue collar workers. And once we start getting into 1925, the former sheriff of Evansville, named Herbert Males, ends up becoming mayor. So Mayor Males had a crazy scandal-ridden administration from 1929 up
Mm.
until like the mid 1950s. No, I'm sorry, earlier than that. So about 1930s, he starts to fall apart. But the
Mm.
crazy part is Mayor Males, an openly active Klansman who is the mayor of Evansville, actually erects Lincoln High School, which is Evansville's black-only high school in
Right.
1928. And so when he erected that institution, he literally said this almost verbatim. It's not that our kind don't get along with their kind. We just prefer to stick to our own kinds. And
Mm.
so, which, yes, that's extremely racist. And he was
Right.
completely pro racism. And what's really crazy too is when the black community got word that this high school was being built, they wanted to name it Frederick Douglass. Mayor Mail said no, it's going to be Lincoln because he
Right.
freed the individuals. No, because he's racist. And he did not allow a single person of color at the opening of Lincoln High School. And
Wow.
so once the black community took it over, it was supposed to be a badge of shame, but they said, you
Mm.
don't have that power over me. So they turned it into a badge of honor. And
Right.
so to even further that, when Lincoln High School was built, it had no cafeteria and it had no library. And because formerly the black individuals of Baptist Town were master bricklayers, they created their own cafeteria, they
Wow.
created their own library, and then they ended up building their own astronomy tower, which really made a lot of the schools around them very angry. Also in the 1940s, they won the state championship in basketball, which was a big deal.
Mm.
And they continued this legacy of Black excellence and Black education. Um, and that's why this high school was such a big important facet to the community. They're also across the street from the high school was Teachers Row, and
Yeah.
they had some of the finest black educators there. So for example, like Mr. Alfred Porter, whose home we actually bought, part of the Evansville African American Museum campus, and we're going to open that up into a Black cultural center. And so all of that beautiful history of not allowing somebody to come in and tell you no,
Mm.
and to take that and really just thrive, that is also why we need to exist as the Evansville African American Museum, and that's why we continue to tell these stories, particularly in an
Yes.
era where we need inspiration and hope. I mean, we've got it right here. And what's
Yes.
really cool is in 2023, Baptist Town was listed on the National Historical Registry as the one of the longest and continuing Black neighborhoods in the United States of America. So we had
Wow.
that dedication ceremony last August. So all of this ties together. All of this has national importance and significance, and maybe that's one reason why all roads lead to Evansville.
Evansville, right?
Or at least for you and I should say.
Right? I'm literally sitting here with goosebumps because it's just, I guess because growing up in that area, like I grew up on Grand Avenue, so it's a little bit further from Baptist Town, but not that far.
Not that far.
And my mother grew up in Baptist Town. She actually, when she was an adult, she was one of, or young adult, she was one of the individuals that lived in one of the apartments that's a part of the African American Museum.
Oh, Lincoln Gardens.
Yeah, she lived in Lincoln Gardens. Yeah, right. I mean, it. So like this history, it just means so much to me. Like because it's just a part of who I am. Like even thinking about like Lincoln High School. My mom went to Lincoln High School. Well, she went to Lincoln School, and so she's a part of that whole tradition of. I mean, I don't know if they still do the Lincoln Clark Douglas
Oh
reunions
yeah,
anymore.
Essence of the '70s is coming up.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love that you love. Oh my god, I love that you know about this. This is amazing. And so, like that, it's been my life. Just being in these spaces and experiencing that, and going to the Lincoln Clark Douglas reunions with my mom and my family, and just knowing all. It's so. This is just. It's just so beautiful to just know that this history is not being erased because we are seeing where a lot of that is happening within the
Yes.
Black community. They're trying to erase history. They're trying to just, and not even just so much like the negative things of Black history, but even the excellence as well. Like all of it, just the hope is that it's just completely, gone, and that we don't have something to build on. And I love that you guys are still doing the work. And Tori, like, I'm just so grateful. Like you have no, like I'm so grateful
Okay.
to know that this is like um priority in
Absolutely.
the Evansville community, because and many I mean I live in New York City. New York is just it's its own monster, right?
Mhm.
Evansville, like that community, it's just not, I can't describe it. It's just so close knit in a way that I wouldn't get that here in New York. I mean, I love New York. I love everything it offers, but to have that community and know that this history is so rich in a way that because it's me. I'm Evansville. Like
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
that's right. You're Baptist Town.
Right, exactly. That's how I feel. So it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is so beautiful. And what's even wilder is what you mentioned earlier about the Klan. Oh, you said the Mayor Miles. Is that what his name was?
Mayor
Males.
Males, Males.
The fact that he actually used the name. I didn't know that it was him that was in charge of naming the school. I didn't even know that this man even was the one who founded the school. Like this is
So the crazy part
wild.
too is, are you familiar with Mr. Tidrington? He was known as the boss of Baptist Town. He was an
Yes.
attorney, a black attorney, who actually
Mhm.
was in cahoots with the Klan, and they renamed the street in front of it Tidrington Avenue. And he thought that he was going to get the school named after him too. And
Yes.
so it was a ruse to begin with, because Mayor Males and Tidrington, what they would do is well, first off, Baptist-town, the geographical location that it was in, was a swing vote. So whoever would come out and vote the most from Baptist-town could actually leverage and change an election in Evansville. So they
Mm,
used to buy like nickel and quarter beers for people from Baptist-town to get them to vote. Or they would even put them in brothels, get
mm.
them all happy to go vote. And they would
Right.
take literally carfuls of people. Kelly Kors, who was a co author with me on this case study, talks about it more in his book, his forthcoming book. But everything started to fall apart. And in fact, Tedderton got shot by Mr. Bell because he shut down his pool hall. And and Mayor Males never had any type of reverence for him, but he never really had any intention to really name it after him, anyways, because he was a
Right.
very deeply disturbed, racist individual who would just
Right.
use Tedderington. And again, this goes back to why we need a new definition of prejudice. It's not just prejudgment; it's deeper than that.
Right.
And it's what your intent is. What is your purpose? What's your motivation? And we talk about that a lot more in chapter 1. So all these case studies and stories do line up to why we do need better definitions, because the history and at least what we have to look at doesn't match up to the definition we use today.
Right. It, that is so wild to me. And it's so funny. A few years ago, especially when I first started this podcast, I did like my version of history as it relates to Baptist Town. And
Oh,
Yeah, trust me,
that's
I did my
awesome.
best. I'll just say that.
Oh, no,
I
that's
did my best.
amazing. Share the
And-
stories.
yes, and I actually when I was researching it, I discovered all the information about Mr. Terry. It's how do you say it again? Terrington.
Pedrington. I have a hard time with it
Tedderington.
too. I'm a reader, not a.
Tedderington. Like and I'm like thinking, I don't even know if I said it correctly in the actual podcast episode, but that's neither here nor there. But I do remember that, especially when you were saying about the beers and the brothels. I was like, yes, all that was like coming back to my memory, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, like
Yeah.
it's so wild how all that it was intertwined in that way. And I think
Yeah.
what's even crazier, I think for me, is I think a lot of people think when they think of like racism and they think of like things like the Klan and whatever else in in wherever it's happening, I think instantly people will never think like, oh, a black individual would be a part of the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
And I I'm glad that that is also showcased, because it's like I think people think when it comes to like racism, whatever, it has to be
Mhm.
strictly from that, from a white person or whatever. But it's like, no, systemic racism, it's so interwoven in just our daily lives, right?
Yeah.
Like it's,
Oh yeah.
and sometimes you don't even realize, or I mean, and I'm pretty sure this friend, he was, I don't want to put words in the person's mouth. I don't know this guy. But you know what I'm saying? But there's a motive behind it, and I would hope that you would know that even though you are a black individual, you're still causing harm. You're not helping the cause for whatever reason. So it's like understanding that it wasn't just, like, oh, it was only like white people doing this. This was also something that was manipulated into the black community to go against one another.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's wild to me. It's like, wow, like that also needs to be something that's, I don't know, maybe I should go into this study and like do it myself. But like even like looking at that, like how, like what is the motivation behind that? That's just me thinking out loud. But
No, that's great. That's great because
it's
that's
something
exactly what we talk about in the book too. It's the motivation.
really.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of there. So I feel like our book can help a lot too.
I love this. I love this.
As we do make sure to go through that as well. And that's why, to your point, this is so nuanced. It's not just black and white. There's so much gray. And if we don't take
Yes.
time to really peel back those gray layers and just look at that, then how are we supposed to get black or white? How are we supposed to fix the problem that we're in? How are we supposed to progress, even though we know it's not linear, but how do we move forward to do better? If we
Right.
don't take time to uncover these individual layers of human nuance to have a better comprehension, um, and that starts too by even reevaluating the words that we use to articulate these situations, to articulate these exchanges we have. And again, just looking, turn on the news today, this is a prime example of why this work is so important.
Right.
Because if we don't have better toolkits, vocabulary, or just new processing methods, then what you see on TV is unfortunately going to transpire in reality at some point.
Right.
And I don't have time for that.
Okay, listen,
I don't have time for that.
exactly. It's like like we have enough going on. Like I don't. It's like, come on. Like let's find ways to work together, right? I
That's
think,
right.
and that's one thing I'm so happy that we like. Not we. I didn't. What did I do with this book?
Hey,
Nothing.
you're
But
we. I'm a sound person. Come on now, take that credit.
no, what I was trying to say was, I'm just so happy that you all have like taken the time to do something like this and then to educate the masses about this, because, like you said, it's so nuanced,
Mhm.
this whole idea around prejudice, and even sometimes we don't even we're truly aware in many ways. So it's, I love that this is being broken down in this way, and that it'll eventually be in spaces like academia, and even you said like just the everyday person could read this because it's digestible in such a way. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm really proud of the publisher too, because the hard copy. And we don't set the prices, but also it is important to understand that all scholarship, there is a monetary value that goes into it and a monetary requirement. The
Right.
hardcover is rather expensive, but I just saw in the last book on intelligence that came out, they're having a paper copy for $24.
Okay.
So that makes it so much more accessible and so much
Right.
more inclusive. So I was really grateful. First off, the publishers have been fantastic for one, and I'm really grateful for all their insight and all their help. But it's just seeing that the paperback for $24 of the last edition on intelligence, I was really proud of that because I've got $24 no matter what. So I can buy books.
Right. No, I love that. Oh my gosh. Tori, you are the best. Like seriously. I'm not joking. Thank you so, so much. I know you're a super busy professor, curator, PhD candidate. Like,
Super busy.
yes. So
We
I
gotta
am,
tell the stories. So we gotta document the stories.
and I thank God for people like you that are documenting the stories and they're keeping them alive, because like we said earlier, so many people are trying to like get rid of it. So the work you're doing is beyond amazing. And I am like, once again, I am grateful that you were able to take the time just to come and chat with me on the podcast today. This was
I'll make it
beautiful.
work. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. And if you can, before you head out, let us know the name of the book again, and then any like platforms, websites that where people can find you. Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, so the book title again is The Origins of Prejudice, Dangerous Opinions and Beliefs. This should be out by next summer. It's by Bergana Books. They're the ones that are kind enough to publish it. And it's also from the series Explanations in the Social Sciences. So if you follow me on Facebook, which is just Tori Schendel-Vyvoda, or Instagram, which is at Tori Schendel, or I do have a personal website, which is just torivyvoda.com. I do post links to all my publications. This book is on there too. So once the pre-order link goes live, I'll make sure to not only send that to you, but have that on my website as well. And then I will talk to the museum to see if I can get permission to put a landing page from our website from the Evansville African American Museum,
Uh-huh.
evvaam.org, to see if I can put a landing website to or landing link to the book as well. So yeah, but happy reading, everybody, and I'm really grateful to hear what others have to say. And once the copies are sold, to maybe follow up and see if you have any suggestions or any ideas or your thoughts on the book.
I am excited because I love reading. So this is right up my alley. I'm really so between reading and history, like this is my thing. So I'm really excited just to dig in when it's ready. So thank
Yeah.
you so, so
And
much.
then, if I may too, so this
Yes.
semester, my student and I are working on a case study to document this entire process. And the goal is to teach my student the process of peer review publishing. But whether it gets published or not, we're at least going to make sure that paper is available. So if anybody is interested to read a more eloquent way, because I'm a much better writer than speaker, we will have that available too, and that should be about January. So if it gets peer review published, I'll let you know where it's landed, or you can go on my
Uh-huh.
website and it'll be there. Or if it doesn't, that's part of the reality, we'll still make sure it gets out there in the internet sphere so that this story can be told and to be maintained and celebrated too.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so, so much again. Like seriously, I am so happy we had this time to just catch up and just
Yes.
learn more. Because it's like I'm always learning and that's my favorite thing. I love to learn. So this is amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much again, Tori.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And y'all, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the E2Me podcast. I will see y'all next week. Thank you so much again. This was awesome.